What's your absolute favorite Roger Federer moment?
Okay, there are many, but when I think of it, right, there is one moment in Federer's journey which was a turning point for him, right? We always saw Federer as a GOAT. He sort of distinguished himself so much from the Sampras and pre-Sampras, if I may, right? Because when Sampras left, 14 was the benchmark, and we always knew Federer will sort of break it. And Federer, when he came in, right, he had the game which was level above the peers, right? And then you saw Nadal sort of coming in, and Nadal, I don't know whether it was intentional or otherwise, but he found that advantage that his natural lefty swing was jumping high onto Federer's backhand. And in the initial years, he was challenging more on clay, but later on, the momentum shifted in Nadal's favor even on other surfaces, right? And so that pivotal 2017 Australian Open final, right? When Federer came back from injury, right? And he had not won a slam for a certain point in time. We always knew that in a fifth set, at least in the last 2-3 years, it had been always advantage Nadal. And then he went down 3-1. Yes. I literally got a very bad scolding from my mother when I started shouting and Federer won. I knew my entire society would have probably heard me. I was so elated. And that match was important for so many dimensions. He was coming back from injury. Second, that was the first time. Federer is a very stubborn player. And that was the first time he changed to that 98-inch racket, right? He was playing with the 95-inch racket, right? And because the hitting zone was so small in the smaller racket, right? His backhand was always compromised. And in fact, Nadal had exposed the weakness which every player had started sort of hitting on. And to make that change, being able to adapt so quickly and win against Nadal in a Grand Slam final, right, where he had been losing to him. Yeah, I still remember he cried a lot in one of the earlier finals when he had lost, right? And because that was number 17 for him, and then he went on to win 3 more. But more importantly, he was able to beat Nadal on any other surface other than clay after that. And that made their rivalry even. Otherwise, it would have been a skewed rivalry. Nadal would have been well ahead, right? And Federer probably would not have been in the GOAT conversation. See, because when we always do a GOAT conversation, it's always 3 players, right? Then you always get Djokovic in the picture. But if you follow Djokovic and Federer, right, I always believe their games have been on par. And Federer always had the advantage. Federer always had his match with Djokovic on his racket. Yes, it's a different story that 3 times he lost on his 40-15 up. Yes. But match was always on Federer's racket. And on faster courts, Federer would always win, right? Yes, it's a different story. He had the 3-1 Wimbledon. But when Djokovic was an upstart, Federer was having an upper hand. When both were sort of in their prime, Federer was still having a slight upper hand, right? And Federer, the interesting stat about Federer and Djokovic is both have beaten each other on all surfaces in Grand Slams. Right. That is not true with Federer and Nadal because Federer has not yet beaten Nadal on Roland Garros, right? So to me, that one match made Federer stay relevant in the GOAT conversation. And it would have been a shame because from a game perspective, from an aesthetics perspective, and from a presence perspective, right? Federer is royalty to me, right? And we will talk about that a little bit. But if that match had not happened or Federer had not won the match, so to me, that is the singularly most important match that Federer has ever won.